Power Smart is a pretty new name at Home Depot, and it's brand new to me, so I thought I would pick up this 22-inch 200cc self-propelled lawnmower, use it a little bit up north, just see what the Power Smart brand has to offer. It comes in a large box. Everything is here, fairly easy to put together, but we're gonna have to actually go through this mower first, because to physically fold this up so that we can look at the bottom, we'd have to basically undo everything I did as far as assembly. Assembly is simple. Just make sure that you have a 13mm wrench or a 1/2-inch wrench to put everything together. Let's start going through the bottom of this guy, show you what it has. As with anything I buy new, I always want to check to make sure that everything's in place. Here's our air filter. That is going to, actually it's nice. It's nice to see something that is probably on the budget end of stuff, to have a paper filter rather than a foam filter. This is going to be our primer ball. There is no fuel in there at this point in time. You can see that we have rails going across. This is going to be for raising the deck. The deck goes from 1.5 inches up to 3.5. So it's currently at the 3.5 mode. We can drop it down. There's 1.5 inches. She's a low rider there, but I'm going to cut at about 3. That's probably a little bit low, but we're nearing the end of the year. Here's our oil fill. First, these are shipped without oil, and they have a tag that says add oil. It does not come with oil, so as with any gas engine, make sure you check that. You're going to notice there is no oil in it, and you're going to have to go buy a quart of 30 weight oil. There is a sticker basically over top of the gas cap. There's not going to be any gas in there either, so make sure you have that on hand. But before you leave Home Depot, make sure you at least buy a quart of oil, because you're going to need it. And that's going to aid in us turning this mower over so we can see the bottom. This is a 3-in-1, so we can mulch, we can side discharge, or we can bag. And the blade on this is actually fairly heavy duty. When we look at it, it's a pretty high lift blade. And while we're underneath here, we should be able to see what, here's our mulch. This little guy opens and closes so that we can keep everything in this area or allow it to go back in the bagger. This section here is something new to me. It's kind of a stop. It's not letting everything go around. It is stopping most things here, but you do have a nice deep metal deck other than this. So I'm very interested in how this drive section for the rear wheels is going to work with deep grass. So to fill it, I added maybe 1/3 of a quart. Since it's our first start, we're going to push the primer ball a few more than 3 times than it recommends, and we'll pull. Let's try bagging with this guy. It's pretty simple. We're just going to pick this up, put the bag in here. We do have cable. Keep that cable out of the way, set it down, push this open so it allows the grass to come up in here. That's it. Doing a great job in this wet grass. Basically, we have it quarter full, and it was still had a nice line that was shooting up here. You can see the amount of airflow that this thing's creating. Pretty amazing. We removed the bag, so we're going to put on the side discharge. Lift that guy up. It's going to sit right inside those 2 pins, solidly on there, and then we're going to close the bagging chute. We're ready to go. I picked up this mower more for trimming, but I wanted to run it through all of its little paces, so I'm normally going to use this mulching, and that's where I started out. This thing has a good amount of blade tip speed as you're moving a lot of grass in this deep deck, so it's pushing it around, cutting it up, and grinding it down to just a pulp really well. And that's nice to see with this, that little section that kind of directed it out towards the back that I showed you in the beginning of the video was really going to be interesting to me when it mulched. Zero issue, worked great. Moved on to bagging, and that's where you could really see the amount of air and the amount of lift that these blades have, and it was able to push everything into the bags, vacuum things up really well, surprisingly well, and put a good amount of air into that bag. This thing would easily fill bags up quite quickly without issue. Definitely not why I bought it, but it's nice to have something like that if you ever needed it. Side discharge, awesome. Absolutely amazing because of all the air that it's moving, and you do have a small hole that is pushing things out the side. Sometimes when you get a 3-in-1, the side discharge works probably the worst, most likely because they have a smaller hole and they don't have a lot of blade tip speed. But this worked great, and you can see I kind of pushed it through its paces in different areas where I'm going to use this, which is more of what I would call a ditch bank mower, getting into areas where I can't get my main mower. Things that maybe are not so great about it, it's a little bit loose, so I would make sure that all my adjustment bolts on here are nice and tight. The wheels are nice and big, it moves around. For a self-propelled mower, it will move very, very easily in the non-self-propelled mode. Up and down hills, there is a significant amount of variation in speed. You probably can't see the hills that I'm walking here, but there is a big difference in the speed downhill than uphill, and you would expect that. So it runs good. It's not Honda quiet, still fairly quiet. For what you're paying for this in the $320 range, you're getting everything that you're spending your money on. Longevity is where we need to keep this guy mowing and see if it's going to continue to last for 20 some years. That's really the goal here in buying a good gas mower, is to get something that's going to last longevity wise. So if you have questions or comments, leave them below. I will try to come back and answer them, let you know how this thing is doing up here. Again, this is a budget style mower for me because it's just a trimmer, that's it. As always, give us a like in this video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your time. Have a great day.